Okay, once my builder scarabs are up to the proper sizes, and the necrons are done scaling, I think I'll go ahead and ease off on my auto building for a little while. Just in order to get the rest of my power grid built. I think that's going to be the next thing I gotta work on. I don't want to go in and harass, even on easy difficulty. Not because I'm trying to drag this thing out. Trust me, I've got enough opponents to do that. But because if I get too trigger happy too early, now the necrons are slow to recover from wins. One of the other big features about power generators is that while it does cost power to build power, it also costs more power to build more energy. That was featured very heavily in the core game and is featured less heavily in this modification. Instead replaced with this waking up of the power grid aesthetic that they've got going on. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. A lot of it is, again, the scale of this modification. This mod is designed at a much, much larger scale than the original game ever intended to be. Especially once I start playing with a lot of the bigger toys that are floating around. I'm also thinking that this isn't just a casual hard crash coming from a comrade. She's either experiencing heavy technical difficulties or really is out for the night. Either way, it was definitely fun having her around. It was good to see her back. And I really do suggest her cooking advice. She's an excellent chef. Let's see here. Unit resources still running a little on the low end. This game does install a hard cap of these that you can build per Necron monolith. However, it is a much higher number, and well, frankly, it's actually a very high number just in general. There we go. There is my maximum number. So from there, it's going to be a matter of saving up, awakening the monolith, and that will start to take care of a lot of my research and power problems. This overload gauze weapons research actually doesn't exist in the tabletop. However, it is a really fun way to keep the lower Necron units in the field of battle, because as they do have such a small army list, they lack a lot of the depth that a lot of the armies rely on. As such, they make up for it with better defensive units, which, while very Necron-y, doesn't really... It's not very viable the way that a lot of the units in this mod are designed. As well as the biggest ultimate weapons in the game. Again, very much in tune with their lore, and actually very fitting for a mod of this scale. It's the primary way that they keep up. They do have a couple of alternate monoliths, which I have not looked into and seen if they are properly in the game. If they are, they're probably Apocalypse exclusive units. It's a style of game that actually this mod was designed to replicate. Just this world-shaking battlefield in which massive armies clash with the power to destroy entire planets. And while their primary goal is to destroy each other, the entire planets often tend to be the folks caught in the crossfire. Right now I'm actually at my single most vulnerable. Once I get through this step, I should be in a much better position. The additional power research will give me the ability to build the other monoliths that I need, which will allow me to continue to produce units even while this guy is currently in wake up mode. However, I think I will engage in a little dangerous harassing. As you can tell, Space Marine Scouts just not really being able to do much against my little guys, and why not? Let's see what damage I can really deal. Yeah. Looks like I got the scouts in check. Let them beat on the headquarters until something goes horribly wrong. Oh good, he's awake. Alright, let's start working on some of the other units. And let's face it, these guys are probably toast, so I'll go ahead and start building it on their territory. Pulling those scraps back to finish my new expanded power grid. Well, scraps just eating away. Here we go. Flayed ones. Actually, what they do here is very reminiscent of what they do in the tabletop game. They do, in fact, have the ability to teleport in. Lore describes them as crawling in through the ground. And very much the slow shambling horde that you see. Most of that is simply because I haven't actually given them the proper wake up, but we're very much moving at the lore speed of how they move at this particular stage in the game. Just this incredibly slow walking, fear-inspiring, and they don't talk. While Soulstorm and its Absolute Heresy actually did feature one pariah unit who talked, most of the lore always describes them as just this silent walking mass. Able to unnerve even the finest of the Imperial soldiers just with how little emotion that they let themselves show off. As you can see, the bolter turret on the listening post just making incredibly short work of my guys, but I have it in sheer volumes of number. It's also worth noting that the flayed ones actually cause fear just by being there. They're that really just yucky skin texture that they have all over them is actually it's the flayed skin of their enemies. So, happy, cheery people, huh? But they're very much designed as a shock and awe kind of unit. Really best wielded against any unit with absolutely terrible morale. Guardsmen, orcs, cheap Eldar units. Any army list that has a long history of very, very poor morale. They are absolutely devastating too. As well as any unit that favors long-range combat. They are, however, very much an anti-infantry unit, assuming they can ever catch them. I often use them early on and use them to break up massive hordes, but for the most part, once the mid-game rolls around, I really stop using them. And down go my Space Marine problems. The Wraith, while not having the ability to come back from the dead, has an equally terrifying ability. The ability to disappear. It steps halfway into the next reality over, which is actually described as the warp. Go away, missionary, nobody likes you. While remaining half in our material world. As such, it becomes completely invulnerable to being attacked, while still being able to move around the field and investigate. Also allows it to be among the best scouts, if one that tends to get shot at a lot. And frankly, who can blame you? The next unit on my list will be the Immortals. Well, not actually immortal. They actually serve as the Army's primary anti-vehicle unit, and that they carry a slightly larger version of the same gun that every other guy in this army uses. They very rapidly become a mainstay force of my armies as we expand. As you can see, the Wraith, not very good on its own personal combat ability. It is a scouting unit. However, it is also one that relies very heavily on its abilities, and once they run out, it really doesn't have much backing those. So, tend to be cheap throwaways, well, actually very expensive throwaways. That I personally don't really hang on to. That being said, that already narrows down 2 units that I'm just really not that fond of. Though I will give the Wraith this much, it is an incredibly fast-moving unit. Alright, let's bring out the Necron lore. Let's show this guy off. Well, I do believe the Overseer does exist as a unit. It's actually the third HQ choice that this mod added, and I completely forgot about its existence. And it's actually a really, really good unit. I feel kind of bad for the fact that I completely forgot about it. I do not know how canon that unit properly is. The unit upgrades here are actually featured from the campaign. Most of them are actually purchasable unit upgrades from the tabletop game.